Good day, and welcome to FYI. I'm your host, John Bailey, and today we're going to talk about a very important issue: hunger. Hunger is a worldwide problem. It exists in our cities, our states, our country, and I don't think it's going to go away in my lifetime, but it's here. And something has to be done about hunger. It's a humanitarian issue. And there are many organizations out there today that are working on solving this problem. And one of those organizations is very involved. It is called Food Share. And with me today is Bonnie Atmore, the president and CEO of Food Share. Welcome, Bonnie.
Thank you. And I have to say, you are one of my most favorite people in the world, as you know. I do think you're an angel, and you know why. And maybe we can talk about that later, but I'm happy to be with you.
Well, thank you. And you know, it's the kind of thing that I look at Food Share as an angel. Because Food Share is really looking after people.
I think that's a great way of putting it. Think about it as we're guarding an angel, right? And guardian angels are meant to be around you. You don't necessarily need to even know that they're in your presence, but there's that idea that's so comforting to think, wow, somebody's looking out for us. And I think about that a lot with Food Share. We have all these guardian angels. We have hundreds of volunteers. The friends and the families that we're serving, they are never going to see these volunteers, the majority of them. They'll see some of them as they're handing out bags of food or preparing meals or working with them in their garden. But by and far, they only see a handful of literally the hundreds of guardian angels out there. And I wanted to start there because it reminds me of you. But two, to remember that so much of this good work is done by people you will never even see, whether they're writing a check or donating food or out there in the warehouse at 7 o'clock in the morning sorting the bread before our pantries come to pick it up. They each know they're part of a much bigger cause. And that's probably what I love most about Food Share. It's this beautiful quilt of amazing people who decided that this was not okay with them and they were going to do something about this problem.
Well, you know, it's one of the reasons that touches me. And it touches me because I, like you, think giving back is very important. We're so fortunate today. We might not be millionaires. We might not live in a mansion. But we've got our health, we've got our family, we've got our love. And life is good. And I think we have to give back some way, somehow. And if we don't, it's a little bit of being selfish. Because there are people out there that can't give back.
Well, and it's also good for our mental health. It's good for our souls, our heart, whether you're religious or spiritual or not. And they've actually done this testing. They said, well, you know, it's got to be religious people or it's got to be spiritual people. But really what we found when it comes to giving and purpose, those are important reasons why people give. But even if you put that aside, we are purpose-driven beings. We're feeling beings. And there is this sense of when you ask somebody, I always love asking this question, when was the last time you were happy? And somebody will think, you know, in their mind, I'm like, I bet you were doing something for someone else. Could be a really small thing, could be opening a door for someone. It could be reading your child a bedtime story. It could just be smiling at somebody. And all of a sudden you light up and you feel really good inside. So Food Share, I think when we think to your point, life is never perfect. It can always be a little better. We all have challenges. But when you find purpose and you find that mechanism that allows you to feel that, life is so much brighter. It doesn't have to be good and without problem, but you just have this sense of, I know that I matter, and that colors everything else that you do.
You know, you're absolutely correct. And when you're talking about hunger and Food Share, how does it really work?
Well, think about a big co-op. So this is for all my hippie friends out there, because I always tell everybody I have this hippie heart and this capitalist brain that come together in the role that I serve at Food Share, and you know this is true.
Well, you don't look like a hippie.
Well, I definitely got some hippie in me because we're a big co-op. That's the first thing I tell people. They go, well, I don't get it. What's the difference between a pantry and a food bank. And I said, think about it as a co-op. Go back to your hippie days, and they're all the rage again. CSAs, which are our community produce boxes, and it's a sustainable way for farmers to ensure that they're going to have somebody be able to buy those fresh fruits and vegetables, right? And they're all over Southern California, lots of them here in Ventura County because we have so much ag. Use that example. That's all Food Share is. We're this big co-op which is why you get the words food and bank. The food comes in from all different kinds of sources, people's backyards, food drives, grocery stores, and we can talk more about that. There's this beautiful mosaic of where the food comes from. And then it gets hubbed into the food bank, and we have these amazing pantries, all not-for-profits, who come and pick up that food, or we directly bring it to them, or in a lot of cases, we will go out and serve that bag of food also to family and friends. So it's a big co-op. We don't own anything. Think about that. We're a 501(c)(3). We own nothing except our promise and our commitment to ensure that nobody go hungry here in Ventura County. We don't own any of those resources, but what we are stewards of that very important source of food.
What is the definition of food insecurity?
The national official definition is when you know you are going to go without meals for an extended period of time in any given week or month. And it's purely, the factors could be different. It's always about income to some degree. But what you find is that people's paychecks don't meet. And at some point, they are now saying, I have to make a choice between buying food or paying for some other obligation that I need to do, like a mortgage or rent or gas or utility bill. I remember once talking with this reporter, actually, and she asked a lot of really good questions. And I said, you seem to know a lot about hunger. And she looked at me, and tears were in her eyes. And she said, I was that mom. I did come to Food Share, and I would look at my electrical bill, and I knew I had to buy food, and my kids would say, I'm hungry. And she would say, just out of pure despair, go look at the light switch, go plug something in, because it's not a choice. You have to have light in your apartment or your house. Can you imagine that feeling of just really pure anxiety and worry about, now I have to choose. I have limited money left, and I actually have to make a choice whether we can afford to buy food or manage another obligation. That's what food insecurity is.
I kind of look at it, and this happened to me once. But I think it happens to Food Share every day, where someone will come to Food Share, maybe with their kids, and they're hungry. How can you say no? I mean, how can you say no to hunger? Because that's next to death. And what you're doing is you're saving people.
I so appreciate you saying that. I listen to calls sometimes that come in, with our receptionist, and that's our first line of communication with so many people. My personal cell phone and my email is accessible to folks. And John, I will get these calls, and you know this, 2:30 in the morning, a message, an email at 11 o'clock at night, and the message is always the same. I'm not sure what to do. I really need help. I've got kids. I'm not sure what I can do, but I have no food. Where can I go get help? And then sometimes on these phone calls, literally you can hear the babies crying in the background. And you know me, I'm a very optimistic person. I don't want anybody to feel sad or distraught over this, but I also want them to feel that this is not okay. I do hear those voices, whether it's in an email or a voicemail or a phone call. You can feel this feeling of, will you help me? And that's a really hard thing for most Americans to do. Just when you finally get to that point and ask for help, you know the feeling of desperation that they have.
So if nobody ever approached a person and they were hungry, they basically can't feel the compassion for that person because they haven't experienced it. But it's there. And it's so important. And that's why you have so many volunteers. because everybody has a story about something. I always tell everybody the reason I get stories is because I'm so old, and I can talk about anything. But the point being is that's why you have so many volunteers, because there's something in everybody's life where they can come back and they can share about hunger. A friend, a relative, whoever, and they know how important it is. So Food Share is a guardian angel for people. And how does it work with you? People call up and say, I need food. Do they come here? Do you go to them? How does that work?
It works in any way that they can find us. So it can be everything from, you can call 211 24 hours a day. They have several different languages that they interpret and speak, and it could be that simple where you could call and say, I need help. I need to find a pantry close by. Well, they would take that family, they would say, where do you live, and match. We have lots of people to go on our website, and we have where it makes it really easy. You put your zip code in, and all of the pantries in your community will come up. Most of the times it's by phone a lot, and because people have their smartphones, and so we can see where those calls, and they'll search in Google or whatever search engine they're using, hungry, need food assistance, and so we'll pop up right there for them with a phone number that they can call immediately, and with our website. A lot of it is through referrals. Teachers, as an example, they know those babies, those young, brilliant minds, when they show up to school and they're wiggling around and they can't pay attention. One of the first questions they're going to ask is, did you have breakfast today? Did you bring a lunch? They're very keen on understanding the direct correlation between lack of food and nutrition to the ability for those little brains to develop, to just even sit still and pay attention. Our police and our firemen, our public health friends, they're all in front of these very vulnerable communities, and they see that look on their eye. I mean, think about crime. How desperate would you have to be to go off and let's say burglarize or do something? Sometimes folks are so desperate that they do things just out of pure basic need. And I'm not saying that's what our friends are doing, but it's an example of how desperate somebody can get. That's a very small percentage. But most of the folks are just literally, they are working their tails off. They have 3 jobs, they're doing everything they can, but living in Ventura County is really expensive. So really at the end of the day, John, what Food Share is, it's this beautiful network. It is this hub of volunteers, of amazing people that have food to donate, grocery stores, farmers, our food drives that come from individuals, youth groups. And then on the flip side, over 200 program and services is how we get the food out. Most of the ways we do that are through our not-for-profits, a lot of churches, a lot of service clubs, and then in between that are the volunteers that do the heavy lifting. They run the operations, they drive the trucks, they sort the food, they answer the phone for us. They are out there serving that food. And then you have your Food Share staff and your board of directors. And we have the beautiful role to steward is to hub all of these resources, work together to get it out there as quickly as possible so that nobody goes hungry in Ventura County.
Bonnie, if someone is hungry, or someone wants to volunteer, or someone wants to donate to Food Share, what do they do?
So the answer to each of those questions is the same. It starts with a phone call or a visit to the website. So if you go on the web, whether you have your smartphone, whatever device you have, it's foodshare.com. All one word, foodshare.com. Or they can call us. So our warehouse is here in Oxnard, but we serve all across the county, and I guarantee you there's a place where you can pick up food that wherever you live, there's a pantry location close by. The phone number is 805-983-7100. Again, that's 805-983-7100. And if you happen to be someone who's listening going, I know somebody that's in need, they're trying to put those paychecks together and they can't get there, hand them our phone number, send them to our website, and encourage them. We will treat them with love and respect. And we know that we are there to help them get through a rough time. And that's what a community is about. And so whether you have food to give, money to help keep our operations going, or you are really in need or know someone, both the website and the phone number. That's why we are here to serve.
As humans, nobody should go hungry. And that's why I believe Food Share is a guardian angel looking after people and taking care of our own kind. And if we don't do that, that's not part of humanity. That's not part of us. So Food Share is a big, big part of our life and should be a very, very important part of our life. I would like to personally thank you for coming on and talking about Food Share and what a wonderful organization it is, and it's out there to help our brothers and sisters, our band or our family out there. And so thank you very much. I appreciate it immensely, and I really appreciate Food Share.
Thank you, John.
I would like to thank you for listening, and by all means, have a great day and stay well.